But it makes sense to me that if I believe that God could breathe through these people that wrote those letters and they became infallible by the grace of God, then why would that stop there? And then the rest of the rest of hundreds of years, God never does that breathing again. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if the church is alive, and it was alive back then when they wrote the letters and when they put the Bible together, then why wouldn't he continue to breathe in one way or form, like in those councils, in those moments, and make those moments infallible so that we can rely on them as we rely on the letters and as we rely on the Gospels? I guess that's kind of my argument for the infallibility.
I think that's a really, really good question. So I think that God could. Okay. So again, First Nicaea, you know,
like things like
I cannot affirm one way or another, but we all affirm the Trinity in the same way we affirm Scripture. Right? We affirm the Trinity like we
even though
Scripture.
It's not in Scripture. Right. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Right. Like I think God could do that. However, now remember, like, so let me just phrase the question well. When you ask the word, could God do that?
Right.
Okay, so God did do that in Scripture. On the one hand, God did do that. And you're saying, could God do that again? Now you're invoking the process of evaluation. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Now you have to say, is this document God breathed? Or is this document inspired?
Right, so you're saying it has to be evaluated, kind of thing, right?
It has to be evaluated. That's where we both were having the conversation. Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say we agree on a lot of that. But, you know, in whatever like if Pope Francis comes and says, you know, something else tomorrow, we would have to evaluate it. We cannot just say it. And by the way, this is the same thing Catholics do all the time. They have to do things to just kind of explain, you know, what the Pope meant or what the there's a crazy thing about blessing extended to homosexual unions. There's a lot of explanations around that.
A lot of people that still don't get it. I mean, and I think, I even haven't looked that much into it, and it makes sense to me what the Pope says. But again, what he did there wasn't infallible, though. Like, he didn't claim to be. But even in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Like,
let me ask you
it was evaluated.
How do you know it wasn't infallible?
Because he didn't say it was infallible.